Have you been feeling lately like your spark is gone? Like somewhere along the way you stopped feeling like you? Are you starting to lose hope that things will change? Or maybe even started to wonder, is this my new normal? If you're feeling emotional or depressed, guess what? Not alone. Because nearly 40% of women in perimenopause and menopause report experiencing depression. 40%. But did you know that hormonal fluctuations in perimenopause and menopause can look a lot like depression or a mood related disorder? Crying for no reason, snapping at people you love, losing your patience for, well, everything. Which makes it shocking, but not all that surprising, that more than 1 in 5 women ages 45 to 64 is currently taking a prescribed SSRI for depression. That makes us the largest demographic in the entire country on antidepressants. But diagnosing mood-related symptoms as depression or anxiety without a doctor taking a deeper dive into our hormones may wind up doing more harm than good. That's because while an SSRI might help take the edge off for a while, it's not addressing the real underlying issue and accompanying hormonal symptoms that are likely only to worsen over time. In today's episode, I'm peeling back the curtain on depression and hormone imbalance, why so many women in perimenopause and menopause are getting misdiagnosed, and the 3 questions to ask before getting that SSRI prescription filled. So, grab a quick potty break and your emotional support hoodie, and I'll be back to break it all down in less than 90 seconds. Welcome to Are You There Midlife? It's me, Monica. Hi, I'm Monica Topetti, wife, mom, health coach, and hormone imbalance survivor. And I'm on a mission to help women in midlife balance hormones naturally without drugs, doctors, or divorce. Are you tired of dealing with heavy, painful periods that look like a crime scene? Are you sick of struggling with anxiety, fatigue, or brain fog that... What was I just saying? Are you frustrated doing all the things to lose weight but still packing on pounds faster than a real housewife changes Birkins? Girl, you are in the right place. Join me each week as I spill the tea on what to expect in perimenopause and beyond. From IBS to insomnia, bloating to funky body odor, I'll unpack all the weird stuff happening inside our midlife bodies, plus give you the latest science and holistic solutions to manage it all. So ditch the Spanx and hop on board the Hot Mess Express. Let's do this. Hey, beautiful. Welcome back to the show. Okay, so if you've ever found yourself tearing up at an ASPCA commercial, that Sarah McLachlan song, it gets me every time, or snapping at your husband for chewing too loud, you're in the right place, because this episode is all about the hormonal shifts that take place in perimenopause and menopause. You know, the ones your doctor doesn't have time to discuss in a 10-minute appointment. No, you're not just getting older, and no, you're not just being too sensitive. These hormone changes are happening deep beneath the surface of our everyday lives, and they can disrupt our mood, our emotions, and our patience, which affects more than just us. According to a 2022 Bonafide Women's Health Report, 84% of midlife women say hormone changes have negatively impacted their self-confidence as well as their most important relationships. It's the kind of shift that doesn't just wear you down, it rewrites who you are and how you connect with the world around you. One of my perimenopausal clients described it this way: I have to get myself together. I'm driving my husband and kids crazy. I cry at the drop of a hat at home, and it's all I can do to hold it together at work some days. I supervise an office of 10, so I really need to get back to being normal. Another client going through menopause confessed to me, I've been taking an SSRI since 2015. My relationships, quality of life, and health all suck. And another didn't hold back when she told me, I'm a tired, crabby, moody biatch. I snap easily and get overwhelmed at very little. Bottom line, these hormonal shifts that we're all dealing with can mess with everything, from our peace of mind to our closest connections. Now, before we dive into this incredibly important but nuanced conversation, I just want to say I am not a doctor, and mental health is a serious medical issue. So, please make sure to talk with your provider before making any decisions about medication or your emotional well-being. On a personal note, I am not anti-medication, but I am pro-information. And the radical truth is, the mental load of hormone imbalance is heavy. And when it's dismissed or misdiagnosed, too many of us get handed a prescription that misses the real underlying issue. So today, we're starting where most conversations about mood swings in midlife never go, with the hormonal overlap that's often misdiagnosed in perimenopause and menopause. And here's where it gets even trickier, because this emotional unraveling often gets misdiagnosed as something else entirely. First, let's break down what's actually going on hormonally, starting with estrogen. So this is the hormone that starts to really fluctuate beginning in perimenopause. And when our estrogen drops, so does our serotonin. That's our feel-good hormone. And this could make us more reactive, weepy, or just feel off. Then there's progesterone, which is our calming hormone, the one that helps us exhale at the end of our day. But yep, that's also starting to decrease in perimenopause, cranking up anxiety, irritability, and emotional overwhelm. In addition to estrogen and progesterone, we can also start experiencing changes in our cortisol levels, our thyroid function, and even blood sugar regulation. Now, cortisol, which is our body's main stress hormone, actually starts to rise in midlife because we're under more pressure, sleeping less, and juggling more than ever. Our thyroid function also can dip or become irregular, due simply to aging or stress or even shifting estrogen levels, all of which affect how the thyroid does its job. And finally, unstable blood sugar caused by skipping meals or too much caffeine or stress eating carbs can lead to extreme irritability or snack rage. That's a made-up term, by the way. So when our symptoms start showing up as sadness, numbness, or feeling emotionally wiped out, it's easy for our GP to assume we're depressed. And yet oftentimes it's not a chemical imbalance we're experiencing, but a hormonal one. And that symptom overlap, it gets missed a lot of the time because hormone-related mood changes aren't well understood in conventional medicine. Hormone testing isn't standard. Appointments are rushed. Doctors see mood symptoms, especially in midlife, and reach for the prescription pad. So instead of digging deeper and trying to get to the root cause of our mood swings, we get handed a medication. Usually an SSRI like Lexapro or an NDRI like Wellbutrin. But do these prescriptions even work when the underlying issue is hormonal? It's a fair question. especially when so many of us are given a diagnosis before we're given a conversation. Let's be honest. A lot of us have gotten into the habit of popping SSRIs like emotional ibuprofen. Feeling overwhelmed? Have a prescription. Can't stop crying because someone forgot to refill the Brita? Must be depression. Anxious, irritable, or just feeling like a stranger in your own body? Boom! Here's an SSRI. But here's the problem. SSRIs only manage one narrow pathway, serotonin. They don't regulate hormones, restore balance, or calm a frazzled nervous system. They don't address the deeper shifts happening inside of us. And they don't realign what's being thrown off by fluctuating estrogen, dipping progesterone, rising cortisol, or unstable blood sugar. Now, to be fair, SSRIs can help, at least temporarily. Estrogen and serotonin are closely connected, as I mentioned earlier. So when estrogen dips, serotonin can drop too. So if we take an SSRI, it can help boost our serotonin levels for a while, which can help us feel a little more stable or less reactive, even if it's not actually fixing what's driving our mood swings. But here's the catch. Instead of actually feeling better, a lot of us are feeling like we've emotionally flatlined. We're not breaking down in meetings anymore, but we're also not laughing like we used to. We're functioning, but kind of just existing. According to a 2017 study published in the Journal of Affective Disorders, 46%, that's almost half of all women on antidepressants, experience something called emotional blunting. This is when you don't feel as sad, but you also don't feel much of anything else either. You're not falling apart, but you're not really living either. Again, I'm not trying to demonize SSRIs or mood stabilizers. I just want to make sure we're not settling for symptom management when what we really need is a root cause solution. Now, I was actually prescribed Wellbutrin, a NRDI, years ago when I had a hormone imbalance and I didn't know it. At the time, I was dealing with mood swings and a lot of anxiety. So my doctor wrote me a script and it helped for a while. But then my anxiety started getting worse and I started having heart palpitations. One night it got so bad, I went to urgent care thinking I was having a heart attack. My diagnosis? Nothing was wrong, except apparently I was having an anxiety attack on Wellbutrin. So yeah, I got another prescription, this time for Xanax, and they sent me on my way. Side note, if you're dealing with more anxiety than depression or experiencing heart palpitations, even though your doctor says your heart is fine, make sure to check out episode 40 of the podcast, which I will link in today's show notes. So before we fill that SSRI prescription or keep refilling it out of just, habit, let's discuss 3 key questions to ask yourself or your doctor. Now, these aren't trick questions, okay? They're the ones most doctors should be asking, but aren't. So let's ask them ourselves. Beginning with question number 1. Do I have other signs of a hormonal imbalance? Like hot flashes, night sweats, cycles that are suddenly showing up late, early, or not at all. Am I waking up at 3 a.m. wide-eyed and wired? Or am I exhausted by the afternoon, even if I slept? Am I suddenly gaining weight, no matter what I eat? Or does everything I eat cause me to bloat like I'm storing carbs for the apocalypse? Side note, for a deeper dive into perimenopause symptoms to be on the lookout for, Be sure to check out episode 1 of the podcast, which I'll also link in today's show notes. These, my friends, are red flags that your mood symptoms might not be clinical depression, they might be hormonal. And if they are hormonal, the next step isn't an antidepressant, it's getting to the root of what's really going on. Question number 2. Is the antidepressant or mood stabilizer I'm taking actually working? Or am I just coping? Do I feel better, clearer, more like me? Or do I feel like I'm just going through the motions, but not really living? Because if we're truly healing, it shows up in our everyday moments. Like that text from your middle schooler that used to send you spiraling. Now you just take a deep breath and laugh a little before you respond. Or that mess in the kitchen that used to send you into a full-blown rage mode. Now you just roll your eyes, crank up some music, and clean it up without resenting everyone in your family. You're not just reacting anymore. You're actually in control of how you're showing up. But if your meds are just keeping you from losing it while you're still emotionally shut down, if you've stopped breaking down, but have also stopped laughing, connecting, or even caring, that's not healing. That's emotional limbo. And if that's where you're at, it's time to ask if this is the life you want to keep tolerating. Which brings us to our last question. Question number 3. Has my doctor taken a deeper dive? Or did she just hear me talk about my mood swings and pull out the prescription pad? Has my doctor actually asked me about my cycle, my sleep, my energy levels, my stress load, my symptoms that don't seem related but totally are? Has she asked what I'm eating? Well, of course not, because what we eat has zero effect on our mood or hormones, right? In short, has your doctor taken the time to connect the dots between your mood and your hormones? Because if all you got was a 10-minute appointment, a surface level screening, and an SSRI, then maybe it's time for a second opinion, starting with yours. So what do you do now? Look, you're not crying in traffic for no reason. And you're not snapping at your family because you're crazy. You've just been handed a diagnosis and a prescription without ever taking a deeper dive into your hormones. And that's where my hormone symptom profile assessment comes in. If you haven't taken this free assessment yet, I want you to head on over right now to bit.ly/take my hormone quiz, because it's time to get some real answers about what's actually going on. First off, this isn't some random quiz that showed up during a late night Google spiral. It was actually developed by 3 functional medicine doctors, and it helps pinpoint which of the 7 most common hormone imbalances could be behind your symptoms. Second, unlike traditional lab work, which measures hormone levels that fluctuate daily, this assessment uses a method called hormone symptom profiling to analyze your age, symptoms, and cycle patterns. Because hormonal imbalance can show up in your life long before it shows up in your blood work. Nearly 1,500 women have already taken this assessment and finally gotten the clarity they've been looking for. So, what are you waiting for? If you're tired of being dismissed by your doctor, if you refuse to take another pill that doesn't solve the root issue, if you just know there's something deeper going on that's making you feel off, go to bit.ly/take my hormone quiz or click the link in today's show notes. Then join me back here next week when I'll unpack Ask AI Anything Except this: what ChatGPT won't tell you about hormones in perimenopause and menopause. Until then, sending you out into the world wishing you health, happiness, and fewer hot flashes. Hey friend, can I call you friend? Because I already feel like we're friends in my head. Did this podcast teach you something, make you laugh, or feel less like an alien? If so, I would be so incredibly grateful if you could take just 60 seconds to rate, review, and subscribe. That is the number one way you can thank me and support the show. Until next week, stay cool and keep away from sharp objects.